West Africa Democracy Radio.
WADR. Promoting dialogue.
Good afternoon and many thanks for staying tuned to West Africa Democracy Radio, broadcasting on 94.9 FM and around the world on WADR.org. This is NEWSLINK. Here are the top stories. Liberia's National Elections Commission orders rerunning to counties as the pronouncement of results covers 98% of votes. Ivorian President Alassane Ouattara unveils a new cabinet including 6 women. Senegal's Minister of Interior assures of conducting a credible 2024 presidential election.
The important thing to remember is to work to ensure that since we are heading towards elections, these elections take place under the best possible conditions.
And Guinea-Bissau capital left in darkness after Turkish firm cuts the power supply. Stay with us for details of these stories and more.
Here is Imo Edit with NEWSLINK.
Many thanks for joining us and a warm welcome to our listeners in the Gambia, Ghana and in Liberia. But let's begin here in Senegal as a brand new Minister of the Interior, Sidiki Kaba, took up his duties on Tuesday. After taking over the reins from his predecessor, Antoine Felix Diome, he pledged to organize transparent elections. With 5 months to go before the 2024 presidential election, the former Minister of the Armed Forces will be faced with the challenge of winning the confidence of Senegal's political actors. Many Senegalese voiced concerns about the reliability of the electoral process, something Sidiki Kaba seeks to confront head-on.
The important thing to remember is to work to ensure that since we are heading towards elections, these elections take place under the best possible conditions, where every Senegalese can go out to vote in peace and security and go home to await the results, the verdict of the ballot box of the people, which will be respected, and to reassure everyone that Senegal is an old democracy. Since a little over 1948, in the French Republic, we have been voting with a capacity to deal with any pre-electoral situations that may arise. But on Sundays after voting, people go back to work on Monday, and that's what's going to happen next year, God willing. I would like to reassure everyone that this ministry has the capacity to organize elections at any time. For those who are skeptical, you should remember that it was a president who organized our elections, President Abdou Diouf, who lost and also left office without threatening the country. It was another president who organized the elections, President Abdoulaye Wade, who also left power without anything happening. There are good men and women in this ministry who know how to organize elections, who have the expertise and the ability to challenge the laws and apply them.
Senegal's Minister of Interior, Sidiki Kaba, speaking there. Meanwhile, opposition politician Ousmane Sonko has announced that he was resuming the hunger strike he had stopped last September. Sonko says it is the only possible means of resistance in his current situation. Sonko is protesting against his arbitrary and electoral detention, which he demands to be ended. The hunger strike is also intended to mark his solidarity with all these activists who have been unjustly arrested for expressing their political opinions. He posted this on his Twitter handle. Meanwhile, the Ivorian President Alassane Ouattara has unveiled a new government. The cabinet, now led by newly sworn-in Prime Minister Robert Berger Mambe, comprises 33 ministers. The executive, inaugurated on Tuesday, has 6 women as members. Ogeberika reports that Berger's team is tasked with continuing with the economic and social reforms undertaken by the previous government.
The new Ivorian cabinet unveiled on Tuesday by President Ouattara retains the same structure as the recently dissolved cabinet with only slight changes. Tene Birahima, the president's younger brother, maintains his portfolio as the Minister of Defense. Kaku Adam now takes over as the Minister of Foreign Affairs, replacing Kandia Kamara, who was recently elected President of the Ivorian Senate. For Felix Boni, an Ivorian political analyst, the aim of the new team is to strengthen good governance.
Je peux noter qu'on a fait un peu du neuf avec du vieux.
I can see that we have made something new out of something old, except that this time we have a different conductor. So we know a bit about the rigor that will be brought to bear in terms of good governance. It's as if the President of the Republic has set his sights on refocusing his collaborators so that public finances are managed in the best possible way, with the people in charge of controlling them.
The surprise remains the additional portfolios assigned to newly appointed Prime Minister Robert Mambe Bogri. According to the presidency, Bogri henceforth heads the ministries of sport and the environment. The main challenges facing the new government of Côte d'Ivoire will be to continue the economic and social reforms undertaken by the previous team, but also to prepare for the 2025 presidential elections.
Agaberica reporting there. We head now to Liberia, where the electoral umpire has ordered a rerun of elections at 2 polling places in Nimba County following the disappearances of 2 ballot boxes. The announcement for the rerun comes more than a week after the October 10 presidential and legislative elections. As you will hear in this report by WDR's Monrovia correspondent Darlington Pauper, the pronouncement was made Tuesday by the chairperson of the Elections Commission, Davidetta Brown-Lansana.
The election chief Lansana said the rerun of the election in Nimba County will be held on Friday, October 20, 2023. To ensure a smooth rerun, party representatives have been notified and the necessary logistics provided by the National Elections Commission (NEC). Meanwhile, 8 election workers who were accused of electoral malpractices have been arrested.
The NEC reported that following the close of the polls on 10th October 2023, at precinct Bio-Lontuo, some individuals made away with some of the ballot boxes and later destroyed the contents.
On the party front, chairman of the opposition Unity Party Luther Tape is warning the government against undermining the credibility of the election results. Tape claims that the slow pace of provisional tally of results suggests an attempt to manipulate the process.
In these elections, it's important that we calm the fears of our people, letting them know that we have all of our tally sheets, which clearly shows that Joseph Boycott has won the election. We have seen government officials driving into tallying centers at the time when the tallying center is closed officially to people. Why would they be doing that?
The ruling Coalition for Democratic Change, CDC, denies this claim. Eugene Nangbe is a campaign manager for the CDC.
Every political party is giving access by the National Elections Commission. How is that intimidation? Most of those who are representing the UP are all former officials of government. You don't expect us to invent new human beings. So yes, all of those who are representing the CDP at the tally centers are accredited by the National Elections Commission. And that is how the process should be, and this is how the process is.
The latest count on Tuesday evening had incumbent George Weah of the CDC secured 791,661 votes, representing 43.79%, while Unity Party's Joseph Boycott secured 786,205 votes, constituting 43.49%, with none of the 20 presidential candidates obtaining 50% plus 1 vote to win the first ballot. Following the counting of over 98.40% of the total vote cast, Liberians are bracing for a second round of presidential election. For NEWSLINK on West Africa Democracy Radio, I'm Darlington Pauper in Monrovia.
More stories coming up on West Africa Democracy Radio. NEWSLINK continues.
And to more stories now as we take you to Guinea, as lawyers of former Prime Minister Ibrahim Akosari Fofana and company say they welcome the ruling by the ECOWAS Court of Justice. The court's decision ordered the unconditional release of their client. At a press conference in Conakry, the nation's capital, the Fofana's legal team called on the Guinean state to urgently implement the order and submit a report on the state of implementation. They are threatening to boycott the hearings at the Court of Repression of Economic and Financial Offences, CRIEF, if the ECOWAS Court of Justice decision is executed. Abdulhassan reports.
After examining the appeal lodged by counsel for Dr. Ibrahima Kasori Fofana and co-accused persons, the ECOWAS Court of Justice ordered the release of the former dignitaries. The legal team was led by Almami Samori Traore. According to this lawyer, who is a member of the Guinean Bar Association, the regional court found that Dr. Kasori Fofana and other former state officials arrested had been violated. For this, the Guinean state has been condemned, says Sidiki Biriti, another lawyer of the former prime minister. The lawyers for the former dignitaries have no intention of giving up. If the decision of the ECOWAS Court of Justice is not implemented by the Guinean government, they intend to move up a gear, Biriti insists. The special public prosecutor at the Court of Repression of Economic and Financial Offences, CREF, told some local media that he was not concerned by the decision of the ECOWAS Court of Justice because, according to him, he was not a party to the trial. Recall the former Prime Minister and other senior cabinet members of ousted President Alpha Conde's regime were arrested for embezzlement of public funds and illicit enrichment.
Abdullah Hassan filed that report. Over now in Ghana, the Volta Regional Health Directorate has expressed concerns about the potential outbreak of waterborne diseases after recent flooding in some districts. Some health facilities in affected areas were submerged, leading to the healthcare delivery center being relocated to a high school in the region. They are urging stakeholders to provide essential medical care and prevent an outbreak of an epidemic. James Japan has the details.
Healthcare challenges persist in flood-affected districts of the Volta region of Ghana. The flooding triggered by the Akosombo Dam spillage has disrupted the local healthcare system with contaminated water due to inundated public latrines, posing serious health risks as access to potable water remains scarce, causing residents to use contaminated drinking water for daily activities. Stella Kumezo is the environmental health officer in the Volta region.
Myself, I went to visit a safe haven and I asked to have a look at where they ease themselves, their toilets. It was a traditional pit latrine, and even the path leading to the pit latrine was overgrown with weeds, and it will not encourage people to go there. Those that even tried to access there, I realized they defecated around the toilet. I entered, took shots of whatever is happening. It was very terrible. We saw some of the toilets submerged under the water. So it means all the content in those toilets are mixed up with the flood water. And at the end of the day, most of the people I saw still use those surface water for cooking, for bathing, and for other household chores.
Michael Kofi Siga, the North Tongo District Health Director, highlights how the flooding has disrupted healthcare services. He underscored the importance of disease surveillance and the ongoing immunization campaign for children. He called on the District Assembly and NADMO to distribute toilets.
A lot of communities have been displaced in the district. So once communities are displaced, what it means is that they will not have access to the regular facilities that they need to have access to. They will not have access to potable water, they don't have access to sanitary facilities, and then routine health services they wouldn't be able to have access to it because now it's more or less like a camp out or a safe haven. And then that is affecting service delivery. A mobile clinic to just take care of minor conditions.
On Monday, the Volta River Authority, VRA, explained that the Akosombo Dam was currently receiving over 200% more water around this time of the year in October than what was experienced in previous years. According to the authority, the amount of water coming into the dam is enormous, which means the water spillage from the Akosombo Dam will continue. President Nana Akufo-Addo visited some affected regions during which he announced the establishment of a committee to coordinate ongoing rescue efforts. While no deaths have been reported, affected persons are demanding compensation from the state. Ghana's Meteorological Service has forecast more rains this year as the country experiences a marked increase in the frequency and unpredictability of weather events amid warnings linked to climate change.
James Japan reporting there. You're listening to NewsLink on West Africa Democracy Radio 94.9 FM Dakar. Here is a reminder of our top stories. Liberia's National Elections Commission orders rerun in 2 counties as the pronouncement of results covers 98% of votes. Ivorian President Alassane Ouattara unveils a new cabinet including 6 women. Senegal's Minister of Interior assures of conducting a credible 2024 presidential elections. And still ahead, Guinea-Bissau capital left in darkness after Turkish firm cut power supply. We do have the press review, guest interview segment, and sports update. Please stay with us.
West Africa Democracy Radio.
Don't forget you can listen to us live on wadr.org. Guinea-Bissau's capital was plunged into darkness on Tuesday after Turkish company Kaparship cut off electricity supplies to the nation due to an unpaid debt of $17 million. According to the Economy Minister Suleiman Saidi, arrangements were underway to pay $15 million of arrears owed by the Electricity and Water Company of Guinea-Bissau and promised the issue would be resolved within 15 days. Sang Donalmendi has the rest of the story.
Dakar Powership, one of the world's largest operators of floating power plants and part of the Caradenis Energy Group, has been supplying 100% of Guinea-Bissau's electricity needs since signing a deal in 2019, according to its website. Saidi said at a press conference that Car Power has agreed to renegotiate with the government to ensure that the backlog does not become a problem. In a statement on the situation in Guinea-Bissau, a Car Powership spokesperson said, unfortunately, following a protracted period of non-payment, the floating power plant is now unable to continue operating. Recall in September, Car Powership switched off the electricity supply to Sierra Leone's capital Freetown due to an unpaid debt of around $40 million. The country's energy minister, Kanja Sise, had said that the outstanding amount was accrued over time because the government subsidizes more than half the cost the SIP charges per kilowatt hour. He added that the government had to spend more on the subsidy because it charges consumers in the weak local Leone currency, one of the worst performing against the dollar in which it pays the power provider.
Sang Donalmendi filed that report.
This is the newspaper review. Stay on top of the news. Get the most important stories with added insight and concise review.
This is the newspaper review.
Let's now cross to Banjul as we join Sankle Janko for the newspaper review.
Hello there and welcome to this edition of the Press Review. Let's begin today's Press Review with the Standard newspaper. Standard newspaper's headline today reads, NPP awaits Barrow's approval for proposed national dialogue. NPP is the ruling National People's Party founded by President Adam Barrow. And it is claimed that they've proposed a national dialogue that will bring opposition and the government together to have a national dialogue for a better Gambia. But at the moment, it appears that the party is waiting for the approval of President Barrow. Gambia urged to demolish death penalty. That's another story on the Standard newspaper. And this one reads, Court dismisses UDP candidates' election petition. Millennium Challenge CEO to visit Gambia. Ex-Basse Area Council FD spills beans at Commission. Let's move on to the Point newspaper. The Point newspaper's lead story has to do with UDP's petition and it reads, Supreme Court dismisses UDP petition. Court asks surety to pay half of bail bound. Bora claims $7 million from state for breach of rights. That's another story on the Point newspaper. Amnesty International urges government to repeal death penalty. Opposition Bokol takes slight lead over incumbent Ware in Liberia. That's according to the Point newspaper. VP Skinners reasserts strong EU-Gambia mutual partnership. Now let's move on to the Voice newspaper. And the lead story on the Voice newspaper, same as the Point newspaper, also has to do with the petition filed by UDP. And it reads, Supreme Court rejects UDP councillor's petition over Chairman Ward election. This other one reads, National Assembly member thumbs up President Barrow for smart farming project. Again, Millennium Challenge Corporation CEO to visit Gambia, also on the Voice newspaper. And this one reads, Gambia's groundwater sources compromised. Now let's move on to the final newspaper for today, and that is the Fourier newspaper. And the Fourier newspaper's lead story reads, Gambian authorities demolished homes, shops in Amdalai, of course, that's the border village, to Senegal. According to this report, authorities have demolished homes, shops in the border village of Amdalai. UDP's chairman candidate loses election petition. TV host sues Gambia government, claiming 7 million for rights violation. And the back page of the Standard newspaper sports reads, Toldo excited about tough AFCON draw. I'm afraid these are the major stories making headlines on Gambian dailies. And it's back to you in the studio.
Indeed, many thanks, Sankule Janko Zain Banjul, with the newspaper review.
Politics, analysis on major news, social matters, and all. This is A Guest.
Well, we head back to Liberia, where the electoral umpire says there will be a rerun at 2 polling places in Nimba County following the disappearances of 2 ballot boxes. Well, the announcement for the rerun comes more than a week after the October 10 presidential and legislative elections. However, this has attracted reactions from election observers and political actors who noted the slow process in the results announcement. Among them is a political analyst, Abdullah Kiatamba, who noted that the delay is paving the way for frivolous activities by political parties.
Well, I think that there's doubts. Even the commission admitted that the people got some questions and doubts because we did not expect the election the country to stay this long. Nigeria with more than 200 million population got faster. Most African countries are faster. So people are concerned. The kind of work that was done before the election, they thought that this would be an easy thing. We hope those concerns are not validated by some evidence or some growth, but a lot of people are concerned about a lot of different things about elections. But generally, the elections has been held. It's going to a runoff. That's the nature of the election is going to a runoff. The European Union and the Coordinating Committee issued a lot of press statement about folks from the CDC attacking the tallying center of the Unity Party in Nimba in Moswa. That is a release issue from the international observers groups. So that concern by itself is supported by some international observers. But the larger question is, these things will happen in Africa. Instead, it affects the outcome. That is something that has to be determined. I cannot say, okay, these things, this one affect the outcome. No one can tell. But the most important thing is that the first one will be concluded today after the reading, and there's no way any one particular cannot write 51% or 50 or plus 1%. So, that's what I would say to that.
What do you think could have been done better in terms of collation and announcement of the results?
I think there's a combination of some level of income. I don't think there's some of the issues that I think that is a concern. And the other aspect, it could be that, there could be people who are trying to manipulate the process. There's no evidence of that, but those are the only 2 plausible reasons. But some of the issue is simple. They're supposed to get the result. They got a tally sheet, so why are you delaying it? You just say information. Why are you driving it step by step, and step by step? And you are being told, no, you don't want for somebody to look at the behind in the counting. And so when there's a problem, he was leading before the noise came, or he was leading before the problem came. And so the way they're doing it is now where was counted first, what they choose to count first. And that is concerning a lot of people, the way they're doing accounting. They could have done, what do you need? You can do the report, they do every by 4 p.m. You can do it in the morning and do it at 4 p.m. Why are you trying to buy time and extend? It's unnecessary. And they're doing things that's not, you don't even know logistics to announce the result you already have. Just announce it. You got a data center that is plugging this in. They have already tallied the results. You've already done that. You want to tally all the results. You got to poll watchers. You got to sign copy. So polling station number 1, everybody sign. You got an official copy. You got a data. You just plug in the data. You got that. So if people begin to suspect, what is the purpose? Are they hoping that if the number and at the same time, let's be honest, there's no evidence to the intent. Even there's an intent, there's no evidence to show. Even if there's a motive, we can find a motive. You know what I'm saying? So it makes it difficult. But the fact that people go to there's an appearance of some level of game being played. If there's a potential problem, there will be the trigger for that problem. Because even the U.S. government released a statement said that they think they should accelerate the process. The delay of the process is causing some confusion and raising suspicion. So international observers are seeing the same thing.
I was political analyst Abdullah Katamba. And in sport brief, the Liberian senior team was defeated by Morocco 3-0 in the last match of the Africa Cup of Nations Côte d'Ivoire 2023 qualifiers on Tuesday. The West African side failed to secure qualification to the AFCON following a poor campaign during the qualifiers. Meanwhile, despite booking qualification to the tournament, the Atlas Lions were determined to finish top of Group K in style in the match that was postponed following the recent earthquake in Morocco. Second half goals from Amin Harid, Ayub El Kabi and Amin Adli secured a comfortable win for the 2022 FIFA World Cup semi-finalists. The win also marked Morocco's first home victory over an African opposition since head coach Regregu took charge last August. Morocco were handed a kind draw in their group alongside DR Congo, Zambia and Tanzania in the group stages of AFCON. And we've come to the end of this edition of NewsLink from West Africa Democracy Radio, broadcasting from Dakar, Senegal. Thank you for listening, and many thanks to Christian Mukudi and Mustafa Sak for the technical assistance. Let's continue the conversation on our social media platforms, X, formerly Twitter, Instagram, WADR News, and Facebook. West Africa Democracy Radio English Service. I am Imo Edet. Good afternoon.
And many thanks to you for listening to NewsLink via Hot 104.3 FM, Newimi FM 94.0, and Veritas Radio 102.9 in Banjul, the Gambia. We also appreciate our listeners in Liberia via Alternative Youth Radio 98.9 FM, Lofa County. For you listening via Radio Pad 95.1 Damango, Savannah region, and on Royals FM 104.7 Wenchi, Ghana, we say a big thank you. Remember, West Africa Democracy Radio is all about you, your views, and your opinions.